Hello, welcome back to part 3 of the Alaska State Constitution, read by me, Amanda, Gen X Alaska. I'm just your friendly neighborhood nerd who wants to know everything there is to know about Alaska. So, let's go. Whew. Continuing on with Article 2, the Legislature. Action upon veto. Upon receipt of a veto message during a regular session of the legislature, the legislatures shall meet immediately in joint session and reconsider passage of the vetoed bill or item. Bills to raise revenue and appropriation bills or items, although vetoed, become law by affirmative vote of 3/4 of the membership of the legislature. Other vetoed bills become law by affirmative vote of 2/3 of the membership of the legislature. Bills vetoed after adjournment of the first regular session of the legislature shall be reconsidered by the legislature sitting as one body no later than the 5th day of the next regular or special session of that legislature. Bills vetoed after adjournment of the second regular session shall be reconsidered by the legislature sitting as one body no later than the 5th day of a special session of that legislature, if one is called. The vote on reconsideration of a vetoed bill shall be entered on the journals of both houses. Amended 1976. Bills not signed. A bill becomes law if, while the legislature is in session, the governor neither signs nor vetoes it within 15 days, some days excepted after its delivery to him. If the legislature is not in session and the governor neither signs nor vetoes a bill within 20 days, some days excepted after its delivery to him, the bill becomes law. Effective date. Laws passed by the legislature become effective 90 days after enactment. The legislature may, by concurrence of 2/3 of the membership of each house, provide for another effective date. Local or special acts. The legislature shall pass no local or special act if a general act can be made applicable. Whether a general act can be made applicable shall be subject to judicial determination. Local acts necessitating appropriations by a political subdivision may not become effective unless approved by a majority of the qualified voters voting thereon in the subdivision affected. Impeachment. All civil officers of the state are subject to impeachment by the legislature. Impeachment shall originate in the Senate and must be approved by a 2/3 vote of its members. The motion for impeachment shall list fully the basis for the proceeding. Trial on impeachment shall be conducted by the House of Representatives. A Supreme Court justice designated by the court shall preside at the trial. Concurrence of 2/3 of the members of the House is required for a judgment of impeachment. The judgment may not extend beyond removal from office, but shall not prevent proceedings in the courts on the same or related charges. Suits against the state. The legislature shall establish procedures for suits against the states. Article 3, the executive, and then it has a little table of contents that I'm going to skip. Executive power. The executive power of the state is vested in the governor. Governor qualifications. The governor shall be at least 30 years of age and a qualified voter of the state. He shall have been a resident of Alaska at least 7 years immediately preceding his filing for office, and he shall have been a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years. Election. The governor shall be chosen by the qualified voters of the state at a general election. The candidate receiving the greatest number of votes shall be governor. Term of office. The term of office of the governor is 4 years, beginning at noon on the first Monday in December following his election and ending at noon on the first Monday in December 4 years later. Limit on tenure. No person who has been elected governor for 2 full successive terms shall be again eligible to hold that office until 1 full term has intervened. Dual office holding. The governor shall not hold any other office or position of profit under the United States, the state, or its political subdivisions. Lieutenant governor duties. There shall be a lieutenant governor. He shall have the same qualifications as the governor and serve for the same term. He shall perform such duties as may be prescribed by law and as may be delegated to him by the governor. Amended 1970. Election. The lieutenant governor shall be nominated in the manner provided by law for nominating candidates for other elective offices. In the general election, the votes cast for a candidate for governor shall be considered cast also for the candidate for lieutenant governor running jointly with him. The candidate whose name appears on the ballot jointly with that of the successful candidate for governor shall be elected lieutenant governor. Amended 1970. Acting governor. In case of the temporary absence of the governor from office, the lieutenant governor shall serve as acting governor. Amended 1970. Succession. Failure to qualify. If the governor-elect dies, resigns, or is disqualified, the lieutenant governor elected with him shall succeed to the office of governor for the full term. If the governor-elect fails to assume office for any other reason, the lieutenant governor elected with him shall serve as acting governor and shall succeed to the office of the governor-elect if the governor-elect does not assume his office within 6 months of the beginning of the term. Amended 1970. Vacancy. In case of a vacancy in the office of governor for any reason, the lieutenant governor shall succeed to the office for the remainder of the term. Amended 1970. Absence. Whenever for a period of 6 months a governor has been continuously absent from office or has been unable to discharge the duties of his office by reason of mental or physical disability, the office shall be deemed vacant. The procedure for determining absence and disability shall be prescribed by law. Further succession. Provision shall be made by law for succession to the office of governor and for an acting governor in the event that the lieutenant governor is unable to succeed to the office or act as governor. No election of a lieutenant governor shall be held except at the time of electing a governor. Amended 1970. Title and authority. When the lieutenant governor succeeds to the office of governor, he shall have the title, powers, duties, and emoluments of that office. Amended 1970. Governor's authority. The governor shall be responsible for the faithful execution of the laws. He may, by appropriate court action or proceeding brought in the name of the state, enforce compliance with any constitutional or legislative mandate or restrain violation of any constitutional or legislative power, duty, or right by any officer, department, or agency of the state or any of its political subdivisions. This authority shall not be construed to authorize any action or proceeding against the legislature. Convening legislature. Whenever the governor considers it in the public interest, he may convene the legislature, either house or the 2 houses in joint session. Messages to legislature. The governor shall, at the beginning of each session and may at other times, give the legislature information concerning the affairs of the state and recommend the measures he considers necessary. Military authority. The governor is commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the state. He may call out these forces to execute the laws, suppress or prevent insurrection or lawless violence, or repel invasion. The governor, as provided by law, shall appoint all general and flag officers of the armed forces of the state, subject to confirmation by a majority of the members of the legislature in joint session. He shall appoint and commission all other officers. Martial law. The governor may proclaim martial law when the public safety requires it in case of rebellion or actual or imminent invasion. Shall not continue for longer than 20 days without the approval of the majority of the members of the legislature in joint session. Executive clemency. Subject to procedure prescribed by law, the governor may grant pardons, commutations, and reprieves. It may suspend and remit fines and forfeitures. This power shall not extend to impeachment. A parole system shall be provided by law. Executive branch. All executive and administrative offices, departments, and agencies of the state government and their respective functions, powers, and duties shall be allocated by law among and within not more than 20 principal departments, so as to group them as far as practicable according to major purposes. Regulatory, quasi-judicial, and temporary agencies may be established by law and need not be allocated within a principal department. Reorganization. The governor may make changes in the organization of the executive branch or in the assignment of functions among its units, which he considers necessary for efficient administration. Where these changes require the force of law, they shall be set forth in executive orders. The legislature shall have 60 days of a regular session or a full session if of shorter duration to disapprove these executive orders. Unless disapproved by resolution concurred in by a majority of the members in joint session, these orders become effective at a date thereafter to be designated by the governor. Supervision. Each principal department shall be under the supervision of the governor. Department heads. The head of each principal department shall be a single executive unless otherwise provided by law. He shall be appointed by the governor, subject to confirmation by a majority of the members of the legislature in joint session, and shall serve at the pleasure of the governor, except as otherwise provided in this article with respect to the Secretary of the State. The heads of all principal departments shall be citizens of the United States. Editor's note: Senate Joint Resolution Number 2, changing the name of the Secretary of State to Lieutenant Governor in 16 sections of the Alaska Constitution, approved by the voters August 25, 1970, inadvertently omitted express amendment of this section. And that is all for our part 3 of the Alaska State Constitution. I'm Amanda, Gen X Alaska, just a nerd who wants to know everything there can be to know about Alaska. So follow me again for part 4. And you have to watch me walk out because I don't want to edit.